Let's do a little bit of politics. Former GNPC CEO Alex Mould says he's got the competences and experience to match Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Alex Mould is one of many names floated as potential running mates for John Dramani Mahama, the NDC's flag bearer. The former GNPC boss appeared on PM Express on the JoyNews here last night. In the following excerpt, host Evans Mensah asked what his relationship with Mr. Mahama was.
I am working with my party, and any position my party wants me to help them in, I am prepared to do that. I've worked with them from the transition team in 2009 to working at the Ministry of Energy with the Minister at NPA, at GNPC. I am working with the party for us to develop our structures, develop the organization, make it more fit for purpose and ready for the election. And that is what my job is. So any role that the party deems based on my skill set and my background, I am prepared to assist in it.
Including the vice presidential spot?
Including the vice presidential, yes.
Okay. So if you are nominated, John Mahama does so, this is something that you embrace?
Well, I think there's a process that goes. The flag bearer has to work with the functional executive of the party in consultation with the elders, come up with the criteria and choose it. And yes, if they call me and nominate me and I pass the criteria, I definitely will accept.
You think you pass? Are you a match for Dr. Bawumia?
Am I a match?
Yes.
In what way? Are we competing?
Yes, if you want to become the vice president, if your party wins and selects you, you're going to clearly in that position, he's your match if you get a nod.
Yeah, but I mean, his job
in terms of his skill set,
what skill
and
set?
his expertise, it's an economist par excellence, I may say.
I see.
Are you a match for him?
It's about your ability to deliver. Yeah. So it's not only on politics, it's your ability to deliver.
And
if you're talking about the economy, of course I can deliver on the economy. If you're talking about energy, I can deliver on energy. If you're talking about any area, whether it's trade, whether it's industry, whether it's infrastructure, because I have worked in these areas before. This is not, something, this is not, would I be able to do it? I have a pedigree that shares exactly what I have done in the past.
Certainly, we just have a few months to get to that election, and so that conversation is going to get thicker as we go along. Let's speak to senior lecturer at the Department of Political Science, University of Ghana, Legon, Dr. Kwame Asante. Doc, thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Right. So let's take a look at putting. I mean, first of all, let's start from how long it's taken for the NDC to announce its flag bearer. Is that even a problem? I mean, is that something even worth worrying about at this time?
Yes, it's yes and no. And yes, in the sense that there are people who believe that, yes, you need to have announced the person long time before now so that you can plan and then move with that. There are people who also believe that, yes, you can hold on to that process and then get to know a few details that you need in order to announce it. But whatever be the case, at the end of the day, Ghanaians want to see the running mate of Mr. John Mahama. So that is the issue.
And at this time, you have someone like Mr. Alex Mould. How do you think, in your opinion, how do you think he compares to someone like Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia? Because if he is chosen, that's if Mr. Mould is chosen to partner Mr. Mahama in this election, he certainly will be competing with him.
Yes, Mr. Mould has a very good CV. He has worked as a public official, and he has excelled throughout the areas that he has worked. We need such people because at this point, when you are selecting people to become running mates, you need experience. You need somebody who will bring something onto the table. You need somebody who will be able to rub shoulders with whoever is the running mate with your major opponent. So that is an important thing that you need to have. And of course, Mr. Mould has all this. Apart from this, you need somebody who has a constituency, when I say constituency, has a large following that he's going to bring to the table because you need the numbers. And remember, when we're talking about presidential election, parliamentary election, Ghana is practicing the first past the post system, where one vote really makes a decision. So you need somebody with a certain constituency to be able to bring on board a whole number of people to support the program. Not only that, but you need somebody that is easy to market. What do I mean by that? You need somebody with very little or no baggage. Once you have somebody with this quality, you'll be able to market that person very well, and the person will be able to garner the votes that you need. If you tend to have somebody who has a lot of baggage, I'm afraid the opponent will depend on it, build messages around, and undermine the candidature of that individual. Apart from that, you also need somebody that, in case, touch wood, the flag bearer, we lose him on as part of the process. The person who can step into his shoes and then perform the work, do the work for us, and be able to deliver the public good. So you don't just bring any person on board, but you need somebody who has the political wherewithal, the person who has the experience and all, to be able to do the work and then do it satisfactorily.
We're in May at the moment. We have just a couple of months to the 2020 election, but we have a big social problem on our hand, coronavirus. From where you sit, how do you envisage this pandemic will tell on the upcoming elections?
I'm not an expert in health, but I hope and pray that we'll be able to get over this issue in no time, so that we'll be able to run the programs that we need. You know, elections are run in three phases. We have the pre-election phase, the during election phase, and post-election phase. You need all these things, there are activities that go on in each of the phases, so that you'll be able to look at issues and address them well before you go to the pool, and then you choose your leaders. But the way things are going, it's difficult to tell, but it's my hope and prayer that we'll be able to find solution to this pandemic, so that we'll be able to do what we need to do before we get to the finish line. We need to register people. If we are going for a new voter register, we need to register. If we are going to use the old one, we need to make do with what we have. And there are a few things that the EC has to also do in order to streamline the process to prepare the country for the elections. And all these things will depend on how soon we'll be able to get out of this quagmire that we find ourselves.
And hopefully we do very quickly, not just for the election, but for all of us. So we run a poll on social media. I'd like for you to, I'll go through the poll and then I take your thoughts about it. This poll has to do with who partners and Mr. Mahama, what people think about the people whose names have been floating around for some time now. So the question we put out there is, who would you prefer as NDC running mate? So far, let me see if I can see how many people have voted. Okay, I'll get that. But then the people we have there are Alex Mould, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, Kwabena Dufo, and then Professor Kwesi Boche. So far, 636 people have voted. Of course, we still have some time left, about 19 hours left. But these are the polls, the results so far. Alex Mould, Miss Alex Mould, we have about 19% of people choosing him. Johnson Asiedu Nketia, about 35.5% of people choosing him. Kwabena Dufo, 21.1%. Professor Kwesi Boche, 24.4%. Doc, what do you think?
It's an interesting statistics you are showing to me. If you look at the statistics carefully, you realize that Asiedu Nketia is on top. I have no doubt in my mind that he has all that it takes to be able to do the job and do it well. But I also believe that people like Professor Kwesi Boche, Dr. Dufo are equally competent materials that will be able to handle this. That is not to say that Mr. Mould will not be able to do the work. He will be. And of course, I was also surprised to see the low rating for Mr. Mould. because you want to look at the pairing. If you are taking John Mahama, you need to balance it with somebody. If you get somebody who's younger, it's fine. If you get somebody who's a bit older, it's also fine. I think all of them are good materials, but you realize that some of them have certain qualities that really make them stand out. Take, for instance, Mr. Seydou Nketia. He was an MP, a minister of state, and he's been a party man, so to speak, and now he occupies the position of General Secretary. This is a man who's very experienced, and you need such people in the system. He knows it all. Seydou Nketia, you cannot undermine, you cannot underestimate his capability. He's a man who is very experienced. He has a large following. In other words, he has big constituency that can really also help in the agenda. And he's somebody who also flows with the rank and file of the party. Remember, NDC has the cadres, and they have other strong, mass groups within the party. Seydou Nketia is somebody who also appeals to all those groups. Let's look at Mr. Botwe. Professor Botwe is another experienced man. Remember, he's been one of the longest finance ministers of this country, and he served this country very well. Mr. Botwe is also very affable, and Mr. Botwe also flows with the old people who believe that the time has come for them to be able to balance the political ticket with such experienced hand.
Okay.
Yes, the other two are equally competent, and I will not be surprised that if you pick any of them, the party will be able to stand on its feet and be able to prosecute the agenda of competing effectively in this election. Yeah.
Interesting views. I wish that we had a lot more time so we can have more conversations on this and ask people to get interactive with us. Well, the election time is still not very far, so we can have this conversation another time. So thank you so much for your time. Dr.
I'm also great.
Right.
Thank you.
Dr. Kwame Sante is a senior lecturer at University of Ghana, Department of Political Science there.